Hi everyone! So I am doing something that I rarely do, and that is a review. I've talked about these guys a few times. So this is the set of the Kaleidos Space Age highlighters, and many people requested and asked for a review. So first of all, thank you for wanting to hear my opinion on these products. I'm happy to talk about them. I don't like to do reviews until I've had a lot of time with the product. So it's why I really don't do reviews very often, and I also just don't receive a whole lot of product. This was very kindly sent to me by Kaleidos. It was sent to me, I believe, early November. I don't remember the exact date, but I know I've been using it for over a month now, and I wanted to use as many of the shades as I could, as many times as possible before I really talked about my whole experience with them. So my plan is to go through all 9 of the highlighters. I'm going to show swatches. So I will show like a pretty thick swatch and then a really blended out swatch. And then near the end, I will actually apply highlighter because I don't currently have highlighter on my face right now. So I'll apply a couple and show you how I like to apply them. So I thought that would probably be the best way to go about doing it, is to show each thing individually and then have like a little demo at the end, especially with one of my favorite shades, which I will talk about. But anyway, if you do have any questions for me, please leave them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. So I checked on the Kaleidos website to see if they sold this whole set, and they do. And I looked it up and it was $119 US for the whole kit, which includes the case and the highlighter brush. I really just figured though, like who's really buying like the case individually, because they sell this on its own for $20, but anyway, it's a minor saving if you don't include the cost of the brush and the container. It would be like $13 per highlighter, and the highlighters retail for $14 US each, with the exception of the Prophecy highlighter, which is the multi-chrome one. That one retails for $36. So because it's a multi-chrome, multi-chromes in every sort of format seem to be a lot more expensive because of the pigments used in them. So this is what the packaging looks like. Like I said, I'm going to go through each individual one, but this is what it looks like size-wise. This is the pan size, so I feel like it's a pretty decent highlighter size. According to the box, it is 3.1 grams or 0.11 ounces. So I feel like it's a pretty standard sort of size for a highlighter, so I do feel like they are priced really well. On the website, I also noted that Kaleidos identified a few key features which I thought I would share because I'll kind of touch on them throughout my little review. So they say that they are extremely vibrant color shifting shades, translucent yet highly reflective multi-chrome finishes, ultra lightweight smooth texture that practically melts onto your skin, highly versatile, can be layered for even greater multi-dimensional effects, designed for all skin tones, and they are vegan and cruelty free. So let's go through each shade. The first one is the one that I was just showing. So I did keep all of them in the box. I have been keeping them all in the box. As I mentioned in my favorites video, I keep this whole kit on my dresser, and I kind of turned it into like a really fun part of my makeup routine where I go and I pick my highlighter of the day. That only changed a little recently after I did my highlighter declutter video, and I had a maybe pile of a handful of highlighters. So I've been also incorporating those into my routine as well to kind of play with them and see what I actually want to keep. But this is where that still lives. Like this still lives in my bedroom on my dresser. It's just kind of like it's home for now. So the first shade is Comet Catcher, and it's described as a silky fluorescent fuchsia with a peach veneer. Shower your senses with this cosmic burst of berry stardust. I really like how the products are described. Like on every box, there's that little blurb where it kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like, plus just a little sentence or two to sort of like trigger your imagination. And I just feel like it's very creative and very well worded, and it really gets me in that sort of space age highlighter vibe. So whoever does the writing for the packaging, whoever does those little blurbs is doing a great job because I thoroughly enjoy them. So the highlighters are all the same size. They're all in the same packaging, just different colors and different designs on them. So they all have a space, age space kind of theme. Like this particular one, this is Comet Catcher. It has the name on the back, has the branding. It has a good feel to it. Apparently these are metal cases, but they don't feel overly heavy. Like it still has a good weight to it. And I do find that it's actually easy to keep these clean. I know, shocking. If I can keep them clean, anybody can keep them clean, because the outer portion of it is just metallic. It's a really smooth feel, and if you get any powder, any space dust on the outside, you can just wipe it off and it just comes right off, and there's no fussing with it. Like some packaging, I find that powder products can just really almost sink into it, and it can be a challenge to clean, but this is just like a simple wipe and it's good. I do find that Comet Catcher can look pretty soft, and if it's applied lightly, it really doesn't look that interesting to me. It's only when it's a heavier application that you really start to see that interesting shift and those specks of glitter. But honestly, when it's applied lightly, it doesn't look too different from like the pink duochrome highlighters that were really popular a couple of years ago. I don't feel like it's terribly unique in that sense, but it does have a good feeling. It's not really gritty. Like some highlighters, if they're glittery, they're also really gritty, and I don't find that to be the case with this formula, except for like one particular one that I have an issue with, which I'll mention. But just in general, I find that it's more smooth. There is quite noticeable glitter specks though, so it's not like a super metallic sheen. It really does get a lot of the reflect from glitter. But I found that it applies really well, and I've worn all of these for entire work days, and I found that this one just really wore very well, very minimal fading, and there wasn't like a lot of like glitter fallout or any sort of mishaps when it comes to the glitter, because that's one thing that I get worried about. Not that I care, I like to cover my face in glitter, but just sometimes, like if I'm at work, I don't really want to look like I just came from, you know, some sort of rave or something. So I want to make sure that like the highlighter will stay where I apply it and not just like trickle down the rest of my face. The next highlighter is Star Surfer, and it is described as a smooth, rosy champagne with silver undertones. Ride a wave of creamy starlight every time you dip into this heavenly shimmer. So this is one of the more everyday highlighters I find for me. The silver really does put it into a different category, and it really has beautiful, cool tones. So it really flatters skin that has cool undertones. So for reference, in the MAC world, I would be an NW15. So I'm very fair and I'm cool toned. And so things that have cooler undertones, and especially sort of like silver, whiter highlights, tend to look more flattering on me. That doesn't mean that's always what I pick. It's not always what I gravitate towards, but it does tend to be what looks the best on me. I do find that the glitter can be a little aggressive if I apply too much of it, if I'm too heavy-handed, and I'm a person who likes aggressive glitter. I just feel like sometimes it can be a little too much if I get a little carried away, and it goes from looking like cool reflective highlight to like I just have a whole bunch of glitter on my face because I applied too much. This is definitely a product that you don't want to be too heavy-handed with, because less really is more. Rayrider is described as a velvety golden champagne with a trace of peach. Cruise through gilded galaxies and carve through solar flares on this lustrous golden ray. So I feel like this is like the warm version of Star Surfer, because it's a really good everyday highlight, just it's much warmer. The difference though is this has a lot less of those glitter flecks. I find it's like that smoother metallic kind of finish. So I really like the finish of this one a lot. And again, it's a very everyday sort of highlight. And I do feel like you can build this up without having that same sort of glitter effect. For me, because of my skin tone, if I build it up too much, it ends up looking streaky, but I do find that it's incredibly beautiful, and it has just such a soft reflective sheen. This is one of my favorites in the bunch. Next, we have Diamond Dasher, which is described as a confection of cobalt, gold, and fuchsia shimmers with a dash of diamonds. Scatter the stars and blend the Milky Way with just a touch of this crushed crystal radiance. Honestly, this is kind of disappointing. I feel like the description really hypes it up and it sounds really otherworldly, but I don't get the same effect as I do while reading it. Like, I really don't notice as much of that cobalt and glue. I don't really notice that much of the cobalt and gold reflex. Like, I do see the fuchsia, but it almost appears sometimes in certain lighting to look a little bit more silvery and a little less gold. So I'm a little confused by the description, which is why I think I'm a little disappointed by it. I do find that it's fairly glittery, so again, sort of like Star Surfer, but I didn't find that this particular one wore very well on me, and the glitter tended to move around and it also tended to linger. Like, this was one of the hardest ones to remove because there's so many different little glitter flecks that they just wanted to stay. The next highlight is the Space Age Prophecy, which is described as a multi-chrome champagne highlighter with a supernatural green and fuchsia shift. Destined for ultimate illumination, this color-shifting glaze is the chosen one the universe has been waiting for. Fulfill the prophecy and discover a realm of radiance when you make contact with this mystical treasure. So this highlighter is truly unreal and my absolute favorite of the whole bunch. It's exactly how it sounds. I tend to apply it pretty heavily. I like a lot. So I've definitely used this one the most. It is my favorite highlighter. It just makes me feel so happy, and it really does give that reflective sheen. And like, sometimes from like straight on, you almost don't see it. And then when you turn your head, it catches the light in such unique ways. This is definitely going to be the one I'm going to apply at the end. Definitely one. I haven't settled on the other one completely yet, but definitely this one, so you can see like actually on my face the color shifting. But it's so beautiful, but it's not subtle. Not at all. You cannot make this subtle. It's not worth trying. So if you're the kind of person who really likes a subtle highlight, if you are thinking, well, I need something that's going to be work appropriate, not this highlighter. Like, not this. Not this. Don't even try. It's really not for the faint of heart. It's not for people who don't like things to look unique. And it's really kind of like a conversation starter, and it really is different, but it's so beautiful. I feel like when you wear a multi-chrome highlighter, you just have to fully embrace it. This lasted all day on me and then some. So I usually put my makeup on at like 6 o'clock in the morning when I'm going to work, and I don't get home till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and this is still reflective and beautiful on my face. Like, even if other makeup and stuff has faded, this still shimmers and shines and catches the light, and it's wonderful. And it even held up to mask wearage. So I tend to wear my highlighters pretty high. I don't just like put it here, and like, I'm wearing a mask. My mask will like cover up to here. So a lot of makeup does wear weirdly because you have a mask covering your face. So when you take it off, depending on how it goes, it can be a little difficult sometimes. But I do find that this highlighter really withheld the mask usage, like this in particular. Not every highlighter, but the Prophecy for sure. Skywalker is next, and it is described as an incandescent aqua blue with ultraviolet undertones. Step up your highlighter game and reach for the sky with this stellar blue shine. So I find this to be a very icy blue. The ultraviolet undertones are a little more subtle for me. I feel like this can be a little bit too noticeable and too dark on my face when I apply it, and I do find that it's a little bit more powdery, and it seems to be a little bit more of a whiter base than a translucent base. I did notice it to be a little bit more crumbly than the other highlighters as well. This is probably my least favorite of all of them. I just find that it's like almost a little bit too chunky, a little too glittery, and just like not the most flattering shade for me either, which just goes onto it. But it is a unique color, I mean, a blue highlight, but I just feel like I don't really like it that much. So my plan is to try and mix it with other ones and layer them together to try and get some more use out of it. Next is Solar Sailor, which is described as a sleek and radiant satin gold. Cast away and drift through a sea of stars with this smooth sailing shimmer. This is such a beautiful gold. It reminds me a lot of the Clionadh Cosmetics Aftershock highlighter in Circuit, which is the one I bought the full size of because I had all the smaller sizes and I bought the full big pan of Circuit. That's exactly what this reminds me of. They both have this like yellow gold kind of shift with almost the faintest hint of silver. It's unusual and I love it. Normally I really struggle with gold highlights. So like I mentioned Rayrider earlier, normally I struggle with gold, like getting them to actually look okay, but this is wonderful and it just has such that iridescent sheen. Again, it's kind of similar where it's less glittery and more just like reflective sort of sheen. Absolutely love this highlighter. I feel like I can apply it a little heavier than some of the others and it doesn't look too crazy. Like it still looks like a really everyday kind of highlight, but it still has that cool sheen and reflectness when you move around. Like one of the coolest things about these highlighters is how it catches light in different ways, and it really can't be captured in like pictures. It's definitely something that you really need to see in person or in video. Next is Mars Melter, which they did reformulate, but it's like a whole new shade. It's described as a peachy caramel doused with a magenta red glow. Melt through this Martian mousse and treat yourself to a warm scoop of creamy crimson and peach. It really is otherworldly. I think it comes second to Prophecy for how cool it looks, just the way that it reflects. It's very magenta though. I don't see really a lot of peach in there. Like to me, peach is an afterthought. I just fully see that magenta sort of reflect. I'm leaning towards putting this one on my face just so you can see what it looks like. It really just has such a cool reflect. I do feel like overall it's a little too dark for me to get the full effect from. When I apply it lightly, it has that same sort of thing as like Comet Catcher where it just doesn't look terribly unique, but it looks more unique when you apply more of it, and I just can't handle more of it. I feel like this would be a more flattering shade for deeper skin tones, just to really show off the cool reflex. When I apply it, I try to use a lighter hand so that I can still find that balance between the cool shift, but also without it looking too streaky, as darker highlights would look on lighter skin tones. And finally, there is Moon Cruiser, which is described as a rich neon lilac with a cool moonlit cobalt shift. Take a joyride through unseen lunar landscapes on this blue and violet hot rod. So I really wouldn't say it's a rich neon lilac, more of like a soft lilac with a subtle cobalt shift. Like I don't feel like it's very intense. It's slightly more purple than Skywalker, although they are really similar, but Moon Cruiser is a lot less powdery. It is a lot smoother. It is really like a cool purple blue highlighter. I feel like you don't need to have both of them in the same lineup, like because Skywalker is so close to this one and this one is just superior. Like Moon Cruiser is such a beautiful shade. I really hope that they can change something with Skywalker because it's really kind of a disappointment. And I looked at the ingredients and saw that most of the ingredients are the same between a bunch of the shades. So like the formula for like Moon Cruiser and Skywalker are supposed to be the same, but something just really didn't work out with Skywalker. So the highlighters that have noticeably different ingredients from when I looked it up on the website was Prophecy, Star Surfer, and Rayrider, which makes sense because those are some of my absolute favorites in the whole bunch, but the rest of them all have nearly identical ingredient lists, so it's kind of confusing how some are better than others. If I had to rank them, and why not? Let me rank them. Let me tell you the exact order I like them in. So Prophecy, Star Surfer, Solar Sailor, Rayrider, Moon Cruiser, Comet Catcher, Mars Melter, Diamond Dasher, and Skywalker. That would be my list of preferences, my favorite to least favorite. Overall, I would say like if you're not afraid to sparkle, if you're not afraid to sparkle and shine, you'd probably really love these highlighters. If you like unique things that would be a little bit different from what you already have, these are great highlighters. But if you do not like glitter, if you do not like sparkles and like those sort of glittery flecks in your highlighters, avoid these because you will not like them. I'm sorry for all the background noise. They decided now would be a great time to collect garbage across the street. So They are very, very loud. So I'm going to apply a couple of highlighters onto my face to actually show you what they look like on my face as opposed to just on my hand. And I thought I'd briefly mention the kind of brushes that I use for highlighters. I've talked about these before, but, well, except for like Kaleidos one, I don't think I've talked about this one. But for like a soft, more diffused highlight, I like the Wayne Gloss Airbrush. It really doesn't pick up a whole lot of product and it really diffuses everything nicely. It's just a really soft, like long bristled kind of tapered brush. I like tapered brushes. So like most of the time I use the Morphe M501 because it is a small, precise tapered brush. I love tapered brushes. I just feel like it's really great to get into like exactly where you want it to. So I feel like this picks up a really good amount of product, but it's still really easy to blend. The Kaleidos brush can be pretty intense. It picks up a lot of product and it's very, very easy to apply too much highlighter with this. I like to apply a lot of highlight, so I like using this brush, but I definitely find that it's very easy to over apply with it. So in terms of intensity with the way that the brushes pick up product, it's definitely Wayne Gloss, Morphe, and then the Kaleidos. So I'm gonna apply a little bit of the Prophecy blush, it's not a blush, the Prophecy highlighter with the Wayne Gloss Airbrush brush. And we're gonna move hair out of the way. I do have it on my eyes as well from when I did, like if you're wondering about what this makeup's all about, I did a holiday makeup look. So I'm applying a little bit here on my cheeks with this. And like I feel like when you turn, like this is a really subtle application of that highlighter. I can go heavier with the Morphe brush, but and then the Kaleidos brush just picks up a lot of product, especially because I already had a lot on there, but so I'm gonna do Mars Melter because I think it'll kind of look cool with the makeup in theory. I'm just gonna go right in with the Kaleidos brush. On the other side, so there. So there is Mars Melter. I think because I already had so much blush on, it actually kind of looks really cool. But I like that, like when you're looking straight on, I don't feel like you can really see the highlighter as much as like when you see it catching different lights. So it's cool how reflective it is, and I think it's only really possible to show that by seeing it. But it's also, because of that reason, something that doesn't photograph very well. So if you were thinking about getting it because you wanted to take pictures with it, it's really not the kind of product for that because it's gonna be kind of hard to see. It might even have to adjust the lighting a little bit because it's just one of those things that just in person it catches the light, you can really see it, but I feel like it's hard to translate in other ways. But anyway, I hope this review was helpful or at least interesting. If you are thinking about picking up any of these highlighters, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know as well. And if I can provide any more information for you, like if you wanted to see some comparison swatches or something, DM me on Instagram. I'm more than happy to help you there and send you some swatches or send it by email or whatever. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if there are other videos you would like to see from me. I am doing my best to accommodate what everybody has been asking for. Thank you so much. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful day wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.